What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Test Giant. This is Solomon Riddell. Today's video, we're going to be covering one of the most dangerous attacking ideas that someone can play against the Hippo, but also how the Hippo player can stop it pretty easily if they know what to do. So, as I mentioned, against the Hippo, there is a key idea that White can play that can really break the game open right away, which is not what the Hippo player wants, and that is either using the A or the H pawns. Okay, here, the H pawn here, let's say White plays a move like H4. Up to this point, Black's doing a good job, okay? We got our bishop, our dark squared bishop being shadowed. We got our centralized pawns on E6 and D6, our knight on E7. So far, we're following the plan. I think, I can't tell you how many times I've seen Hippo players go, you know what, that move looks a little bit weird, but I'm just going to continue with my normal game plan of bishop E7. Well, now we run into this move of H5. And Black's actually in quite a bit of trouble here. Okay, you plug this into a computer program, it's not going to like it for Black. And that's because White has all the leverage here. At any point, White can take on G6 and break open this H file. Also try to distract this pawn on F7 if we don't take with the H7 pawn. White can also look at ideas like H6, simply attacking our dark squared bishop whenever we want. Notice here, we cannot lock things up. If we play a move like G5, we're just going to lose this pawn. And if we take on H5, White can just take back with the rook pretty easily, right? Even out the material, be attacking H7. Obviously, our pawn structure is a little bit messed up now with this isolated pawn on the very edge of the board, and this king's feeling a little bit loose. On top of that, though, White can just take this pawn whenever they want, okay? There's really no defender at the moment that is going to be able to defend this pawn, so White could even try to play this move of knight G5, looking to play queen takes H5, attacking both F7, and in the case of castling kingside, H7. Okay, now many of you are probably wondering, why can't Black just kick this knight out with a move like H6? Well, now White has this idea of knight takes E6 and bishop captures on E6. Queen takes H5 check is on the way, and this king is in major, major trouble. Over a +5 advantage for White. This isn't what we want. Okay, so going back against this move H4, obviously we really got to try to slow down this H5 move. Well, how do we do it? Well, the answer is not H5 ourselves. Okay, oftentimes this is good, but because of the fact that we've already played G6 and E6, G5 is a huge, huge weakness. In fact, right now, White can just play bishop G5, and this bishop is an absolute monster. Okay, pinning our knight on E7 to the queen. And look, if we ever try to kick it out with a move like F6, which is really the only way to do it, okay, White just goes back to F4, and y'all, our pawn structure is very far advanced. This just is not a good idea. We want to keep our pawns, especially our pawn on F7, close to home so it can defend both E6 and G6. In this situation, we can't even fianchetto because this bishop is the lone defender, the bishop on C8, the lone defender of that pawn on the E-file, right? So this is just not what Black wants. Going back to H4, the key idea that we're going to use, however, is actually playing this move of H6, okay? This is how you prepare for H4, by having a pawn on G6 and on H6, so that if H5 is ever played, we just play G5, right? As I mentioned earlier, with this pawn on H7, if we, just play another move, H5 comes into play. We can't play G5, but now we have prepped this option, and now White, is kind of looking silly that they pushed their pawn all the way down to H5. If anything, this is becoming a target. White can try to do the same thing on the A file, but again, we're not going to play a move like bishop B7 and allow A5, giving White the leverage. We're going to play A6. If White doesn't play A5, we can't really play B5, right? We can't play B5 until White does play A5. Until then, we're just going to develop bishop B7, knight G7. But if White ever does play A5 now, this only helps us. We play B5. Both of these pawns are now targets. We're just going to continue with bishop B7, attacking that centralized pawn. Knight D7 on the way. C5 ideas in the air. Putting pressure on D4, looking at C4. And whenever we do play C5, obviously we need some support, so we're probably going to play knight D7. This pawn on A5 is also going to be attacked. Also keep in mind that if White ever does push either of these pawns, it makes it very hard to castle to that side. Okay, in this situation, if White castles kingside, they got to be worried about this pawn because it's no longer defended, and especially castling queenside, they got to be worried about this A pawn because the queen is already directly looking straight at it. Okay, there's also another example that I wanted to include, and that's if we have a position like this. Okay, so we're playing the Hippo. We see this move bishop C4. We really just try to lock that bishop out. We now play A6. By playing A6, we're actually just trying to gain tempo against that bishop, right? If White wants to play a move like, bishop E3, for example, okay, we play B5, bishop B7. We're looking to play B4, kick this knight out. look to capture off that pawn e4. This is a great situation for black, but the big question is, okay, after a6, what happens if white prevents this move with the move a4? Well, again, y'all, we have to be careful. A move like knight e7 here simply is not a good idea because now white is able to play a5, right? And notice, if we ever play b6 or even b5, white has the option of the en passant because we didn't move one square, but instead we moved two. Okay, we see the rule of en passant. And, okay, I mean, black's pawn structure is starting to fall apart. We can take back with the knight, but this pawn's going to be isolated with both a bishop and a rook staring straight at it. And if we capture back with the c-pawn, notice that this d6 pawn no longer has a defender. Again, this is not what the Hippo player wants. These f7 and c7 pawns are very important. We really only want to move these if we are playing c5 or f5, putting pressure on white's center, not just trading down for a simple a pawn, right? So going back, if we do see, you know, a move here like a4, we're going to prep for a5. And by prepping for a5, we're simply going to play b6. Many of you are wondering, okay, why would we play b6? I mean, we're still going to play b5, just like we did earlier. But notice, we just moved one square, not two. So now en passant is simply not an option because we prepped for this move with b6. Okay, again, b6, a6 against a4, g6, h6 against h4. And now if we do see the move a5, we simply push this pawn up. No en passant is in the works. And now we're just going to continue to develop with a move like knight e7. Again, this pawn is now a target. c5 idea is on the way. And we're just playing chess. Again, thanks y'all for watching today's video. Let me know what other kind of content you would want me to create. Let me know down in the comment section below if you have any questions. If you do, though, just make sure to send a timestamp. That way I know exactly where you're talking about. As always, I'm wishing you guys a great day. Keep it real, keep it chill, keep it rolling. Peace.